gonna go on trips this summer, right?
Of course. We've got a family legacy to rewrite.
That's tomorrow's problem. Now, I just want a normal family meal. Our family home contains artifacts that were stolen. And we've been returning them to break the family curse.
But we still have a lot of work to do.
Kids, look out! Vanderhoovens, we have a situation. Come with me.
An artifact was stolen from the restricted wing.
Maybe there's a curse someone doesn't want us to break.
Smells like sabotage. Everything smells like sabotage to you.
We've got an intruder to track. If we don't end this curse,
All the artifacts could activate at the same time.
We'll need all the help we can get. Bring it on.
Hang on!
Oh, nothing like surviving the sea's wrath. Nice try, Poseidon.
I told my family I would never leave them again.
You shouldn't make promises you can't keep.
It's very exciting out in the field, isn't it?
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Curses. Season 2 arrives with all 10 episodes on Apple TV Plus on Friday, October 4th. I'm Kuya. This is Nerds Rule the World, and we're talking all things Curses with the creators Jim Cooper and Jeff Dixon. Thank you both for your time. How are you guys? What are the vibes? Season 2 is here.
Oh, man, we're pumped. Thanks for having us.
Definitely. So excited. It's the spooky season of this recording, as of this recording. So this is the perfect type of show to watch and binge if they haven't seen season 1, as we get into season 2. What was the first things when we got the sign off? Yeah, season 2 is happening, and we're now going to progress, the storyline along even further. The dad's now going to be available to work with the rest of the family. What were some of the line items that you wanted to hit as we got into season 2 that we can talk about without spoiling for those that are going to watch as the story progresses? Obviously, Jim.
Oh, okay. Well, it was interesting because Jeff and I have been talking about this, where it was like we finished season 1, and you're like, you knew what the season long arc was from the very beginning. Dad's been turned to stone. How do you unturn him to stone? So like it was clear what the problem is, and we thought, it would be great. In the second season, let's put in a mystery where the audience doesn't really know what's happening. The characters don't know what's going on. So that we kind of have more of a whodunit or what's happening aspect to it, while Alex is also trying to fit into the family. So that was kind of what excited us about going into a second season. Like, okay, how do we change it up from the first season?
Awesome. How about you, Jeff?
And I will add also that first season, as insanely proud as we are of that, it's also a lot of laying pipe and foundation for what are the rules, what is the universe, what is everything. And once you kind of establish that, what's fun about a second season and beyond is you can take off and make things bigger and badder and broader. And so we were able to push a lot more, considering that the audience already kind of has a foundation of knowledge of what's going on, that we can really go, okay, they have that, now let's push it even further. So it got a lot more fun for us to just really round out that universe and really just start pushing as much as we could in every direction.
Definitely. And I'd add as well, you get to see the fans' response after that season 1 and implement some of those things that the fans are enjoying, and see how we can, pay homage to them and say thank you for supporting the show, right? So Jim, as we now progress into the season 2, can we talk a little bit about the production, some of the things fans can expect from this new season of Curses?
Well, one of the things that we also really wanted to do too is kind of give a lot of the non-family member characters their episodes to shine too. So if you love Larry has a big episode. Stanley has a big episode. Margie has a big episode. So it's moving it just beyond our core family, but going, okay, what's an adventure they can go on? I mean, I always described Larry's big episode as him being Captain Ahab, like him really going off. And that was also great fun to let the actors play with that too. It's sort of like, okay, really explore this character. That's not just you come in, say a couple funny lines, and then the family goes off on an adventure too.
Definitely. And similar question, Jeff. We're now in season 2. We get to open the characters up, as you had mentioned. You had said we get to bring them more into the world and have more fun and play around. What are some of the things that you are looking forward to for the fans to see in season 2?
Well, one of the things that Coop and I did when we started the show was we built very extensive character bios and backstories and histories for everybody. Not necessarily so it's all in the show, but just to help us round out the characters as everything was being written. And what's really fun in season 2 is a little bit of their backstories are starting to come out nugget by nugget in a few episodes here and there. And so you're starting to learn a little bit more about Stanley and Larry and it's kind of fun, I think, to have people see them as a little bit more than just what they thought from season 1.
Awesome. All right, I want to talk about influences if you don't mind. I'm a creative filmmaker myself. I'm looking at both your backgrounds. On IMDb, you had a Creep Show shirt, Jeff, that I love. I see Jim has the CURSES take on EC, kind of a comic book cover back there. Are any of those themes that you guys fell in love with as fans of horror genre making its way into the season 2? And anything we can throw it back to that the super fan can see, oh, this episode has a little bit of this that I love from this that you implemented in there. If I can throw it back to you, Jim, if you could maybe share some of those nuggets, if you will.
Well, it's interesting. It's less specific, this is necessarily an homage to X film or whatever. Yeah. But we literally did sit down and go, okay, what are scary stories that we've already done? What are realms and types of things that we haven't? So the one I like to bring up is, how do you do a kaiju episode? That we can't do that. We can't bring Godzilla in to destroy the city. How can we do that within our framework? So there is the homage, but it's also trying to figure out how can you do that kind of scare within this framework. So that was a much more almost rewarding way of doing it, going, okay, how do we tell that type of horror in a way that fits our show?
Yeah. I will add one of the things that was fun. Every single episode when we broke it, we had a couple touch tone horror movies. So everybody kind of had their different little roles in the room. And one of the things that everyone would make fun of me about was I would say probably 10 times a day, okay, where's the horror coming from? Okay, where's the horror coming from? And so, but what we would always do is we would look for a couple horror movies that were okay. So it wasn't just an complete, this was the horror movie we were using, but it got into everybody's head of what did that movie do right? What, what sort of things did, that movie, what buttons did it push, whatever. So Cooper was talking about the kaiju episode. What happened was, as we start asking those questions, that sort of nuance, it trickles down to everybody. So it's for instance, if you listen to the score in that episode, Jesse, our composer, we would talk about these touchstone movies. Listen to the Godzilla score and listen to the score of that episode, and she had that influence in her head. She wasn't trying to flat out copy it. She was just paying that was in there. So I think that a lot of that stuff just came through as we were developing, as we always had those film touchstones. And as far as me, I mean, let's be honest, my whole persona is based on horror movies. I mean, I basically wear a different horror shirt every single day. That's all I watch. It's all I want to do. So it's how's that not going to come through? And that's basically how I define myself.
I love that. It's paying homage, and also just those influences kind of find their way into the work. Thriller is what made me become a filmmaker. The making of Thriller and the original Dawn of the Dead, Romero just made me a filmmaker. I'm seeing that alien Kermit figure you have back behind you, Jeff, and that's just is super awesome. I'm sorry, I was like, what? I love that.
I love the Muppets too. So
you can take a screenshot of his shelf and try to do like literally find the Easter eggs.
I'm loving it. Yeah, I see one of the characters
crazy.
back there. This voice cast is absolutely amazing. Can we talk about, the second season working with the cast again and some of the new players you brought in as well? Back to you, Jim.
Well, one really nice thing is about getting into a second season, particularly the voice cast, they know their characters. So then you can actually have a lot more fun too with like the line readings. And oh, by the way, some of our all-time favorite like line readings and lines were literally just sort of like, I'm thinking particularly of Rhys Darby on a couple things, just a couple little toss away things that he had said like at the end of recording a line. And Jeff and I always had a rule sort of like, if we laughed in the room, it's in the show. So things like that were great. And yeah, I mean, and by the way, they influence how the characters are written at that point too, where you can hear them. So you're like, okay, it's almost like volleyball where you're like, okay, I'm going to bump this up so they can spike it. And they would.
I will add one more little piece to that puzzle, which is, I don't want to like spoil it, but James was interested. He wanted to play with some other voices. And so
James
there's
Marsters.
one. Yeah. Oh, sorry. James Marsters, who plays Larry, wanted to, and he's really open to trying these different voices and stuff. And so we had another character for him to try and play. And it probably was the highlight of our recording career because he would come in with these voices and he had been like, he's like, guys, hey, I gotta try. And we would die laughing. We're like, that's amazing. And then we'd record him the next week and he's like, okay, I've been thinking all week about this. Can I try it again, but try a different voice? And he would come in and just try this whole thing and we die laughing. And then we're like, okay, now what are we doing? Because they're all so good. How do we choose? And so what was so fun was it wasn't just Coop and I that were passionate about it. They were, like you said about Rhys or James or everybody, they started to own their characters and they were equally passionate as much as we were. And that was just like so fulfilling to see.
Exciting. Well done, guys, on this. I've only seen episode 1 of season 2. I'm still making my way through it. I've have that lucky blessing that I can watch it before everybody else. But everybody, again, the whole 10 episode season 2 is premiering on October 4th. Go check it out. And if you haven't seen season 1, go binge it. Do we have a season 3 idea in the can? Or 4? Can we maybe throw some highlights on that? Maybe
future is unknown by all.
We have a million ideas, but who knows? Yeah, who knows how that will go? But yeah, we just love this season so much. That's kind of what we're mainly focusing on.
Gotcha. Well, we're throwing in vampires in there. We're getting like all the different creatures. Is there possibly like aliens, all that Bigfoot? Are we going to touch upon all of that? Are there ideas on that? Can we say that?
I will not. I will say this: when we started the show, Coop and I had a file of anytime we'd have an idea, we would just file it away, and we have like a couple hundred in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, of just ideas of artifacts or news articles or whatever. So I mean, this was even before we wrote episode 1. We had these hundreds and hundreds. So that's in there. That's filed away.
Yeah.
Well,
by the way, literally, if you see the news, things keep popping up. You're like going, seriously, they just found this thing? That's an episode. You'd be shocked about how much you notice once you start. Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love this mix of archaeology. I'm an Indiana Jones guy, but also I'm a creepy guy. I like thrillers, horror stuff, like Jeff. Like I can't wait for like a Jersey Devil or Cthulhu Gray Man, Bigfoot, just all of that to make its way. Gentlemen, it is a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for your time. Let me remind everybody again, October 4th, all 10 episodes, DreamWorks Animation, Apple TV Plus. Check it out. Curses season 2. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. And that is Jim Cooper and Jeff Dixon, the amazing creators. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, there's a cut. Jeff, Jim, it's a pleasure to chat with you both. I'm gonna count us in and help me with my edit because I'm putting the trailer in front of this. All right, here we go. In a 1, 2, 3.